Well, let's overall begin with a bit of dark humor, I think. And this is episode number 6, I believe. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. We're going to talk about mental health in the next couple of times. Um, it's some concern to us, in a family as large as ours. Um, we have a good bit of diversity and attitudes and health of all sorts, and so I kind of want to go over some of these things. We got a dog here gnawing on a bone, so you can hear in the background. I hope it doesn't disturb you too much. He may come over here after a while and put on a show. Anyway, for example, my wife and I have 6 boys, and they're all good boys. But our last uh, child, name is Joey, and he has been afflicted, I guess you could call it that, with a malady that involves two visions of reality. He lives in one of them most of the time. That's what our little community does, and he does a good bit of our standard, which is laying about, drinking whiskey, and fishing. Those are our three honorable pastimes here, and we don't know what the trigger is. But sometimes something happens to Joey. A trigger happens, and he switches into his second reality, which includes fast women, fast cars, and whiskey. Now we don't know how this happens, but it does periodically, and he lives with it, and he's lived through it so far. Now, we have, for a number of years, been concerned about this. I'm a little hesitant to talk too much about it, but last year, my wife and I decided we were going to have to do something about Christmas. Now, Joey is obsessive about Christmas. He lives for Christmas when he's not out with fast women and fast cars. And we thought that now that he's 25, that he should know all about the traditions of Christmas that he's probably missed, and not too much. And so I sat him down one day and and gave him a good drink, and my wife was there too, and I just told him, son, there is no Santa Claus. He doesn't exist. Um, the person who gave you that what was it? There was a car that gave you there. You thought Santa Claus gave you a car. That's Maserati. That's what it was, the one you wrecked. Well, Santa Claus didn't give you a Maserati. Your mother and I gave you that Maserati. Now, if you got that Lamborghini that's sitting in the garage right now, you won't get that kind of thing from Santa Claus. If Santa Claus was going to give you anything, it would be a set of gloves or maybe a scarf or something like that, a normal Christmas present. And I stopped there. And Joey just sat there for a minute. He finished his drink. He didn't say a word. He stood up, tears flowing down his cheeks. He took a run to get started, ran through that picture window like it was cellophane and jumped in his Ferrari convertible and scooted on, scrabbled on down that road. We thought probably to the nearest bar. We presumed that. But we didn't see that boy for 2.5 years after that. It really affected him. And after a year or so, we heard some rumors, vague rumors out of Macau and Montreal. And there were times when the laid off in New Orleans for a little while and made friends and worked there, and there's some tales about that time in New Orleans where he claimed that Maserati he could drive from New Orleans to a little old town in East Tennessee. I won't mention it in 5 hours. The official time was about 8 hours, I think, something like that. But I don't know whether he did it or not. But anyway, about a year after that, one of our reliable resources said we saw somebody who looked like him in a little houseboat fishing in kind of a backwater place called French Broad. And we it might be worth checking out to see if you're interested in seeing if that's what's happening. And so then we got more information about that time from bank records. I had my crew look into his situation, and he was loaded. He had made piles of money in that year or two that we hadn't seen him. He probably hit a lot of these little casinos that are scattered all over the South and worked something out there. Anyway, he had plenty of money now, and so his mother went down, took a look at the situation, and she decided he needs to have something larger. So she built him a houseboat, a big houseboat, had a bar on one end where he could sell beer and stuff, and then he had living quarters with a number of extra rooms for guests, and so he settled into that, and we encouraged it. I was able to with my organization. We arranged for a small book, a book for him to run there out of his houseboat, and his mother ran a small group of girls. Let's local girls with none of this outside stuff, just local girls there. And then, of course, we had a big truck stop. I won't say the name of the truck stop. I've forgotten it even. But it was up the road just a little bit, and it drew. We drew a lot of money. I mean, a lot of patrons from that truck stop. So that's where we were, settled down. So there's no evidence so far for a revision or a reversion back to his second and wilder life or world or universe, whatever we want to call it. Now, we wouldn't, I don't believe we'd want to recommend this. We don't recommend anything. But we wouldn't want to recommend this, the Santa Claus thing or the equivalent. Maybe you'd use it with people like Elvis. Yeah. And we don't, it's not something we generally recommend. And that's all I'm going to say about it in this shorter period. We're happy to have you watching us, and we will have more about mental health probably in the next few days. Thank you.